He told me straight to my face, "I'm gonna make you come." And I let him. I should have said no. I should have remembered the girl who called me sister for 12 years. But I didn't. I wanted him. I needed him. Even though he was my best friend's dad. This is my story. A story of lust, lies, betrayal, and consequences I never saw coming. If you are new here, welcome. And if you have been riding with me, thank you so much for the love and support. You already know how raw and real we get on this channel. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It is the fuel that keeps these stories coming. Also, I want to hear your thoughts, your anger, your shock. Drop it all in the comments. Let us talk about it after the story. Now, let me tell you about the night that changed everything. His fingers slid up my thigh like he owned my body. Like every man who ever left me behind was just making room for him to find me. We were in the guest room. The party was still going on downstairs. Laughter echoed through the hallways, but all I could hear was my heartbeat crashing in my ears and the sound of his voice. Deep, slow, and thick with heat. "I am gonna make you come," he growled, his mouth grazing my ear. And I let him. Right there on his daughter's bed. I should have said no. I should have run out that door. I should have remembered Ashley's laugh, her kindness, the way she shared her clothes with me since we were 12. But I did not. Instead, I spread my legs and gave in to the kind of craving that ruins friendships and reshapes lives. And nothing was ever the same after that. My name is Brittany Keller. I am 26 years old. I live in a sleepy Georgia suburb where folks act like scandal is a thing they only read about in magazines. But truth be told, secrets rot under these pretty lawns like dead bodies. I met Ashley Carter in middle school. We were locker neighbors and instant friends. She was sweet, rich, and loud. I was poor, sarcastic, and broken. Somehow it worked. Our friendship lasted through college, bad breakups, hangovers, job changes, everything. I loved her like a sister. But sisters do not sleep with each other's fathers. That part of my life began the summer after I broke up with Brent, my fiancé of 3 years. I moved back home and started working at a beauty salon downtown. Ashley begged me to come hang out more often to distract myself. One Saturday afternoon, she invited me over for a pool party at her parents' place. Big house, huge yard, cold drinks, loud music, the kind of comfort money buys easily. I wore a red bikini that I did not even realize hugged my curves a little too well. Michael Carter, her dad, opened the door when I arrived. I had always known him as Mr. Carter. He used to coach our soccer team when we were in 8th grade. He was the strict dad with the clean shave and the nice watch. But when he opened that door, something changed. He was in a tight navy polo, drink in one hand, eyes scanning me like he had never seen me before. "You grew up," he said. That should have been the first red flag. At the pool, he kept watching me. I caught his eyes behind his sunglasses, always lingering a second too long. He offered me drinks, made little jokes, asked if I was still single. And then came the first touch. I was drying off after a swim, and he walked behind me, hand brushing against my lower back. Firm, intentional, and a little too slow. I turned to say something, but he smiled like nothing happened and walked away. Ashley was busy laughing with some friends. She had no idea. Later that evening, most of the guests had left. Ashley ran to the store to grab more snacks. I was inside drying my hair in the guest room when the door opened. It was Mr. Carter. He stepped inside and closed the door. He did not speak right away. He just stood there watching me in the mirror. Then he said it low, calm, and dangerous. "I am gonna make you come." I froze. My stomach flipped. And God help me, I did not stop him. I turned to him. And before I could even form a full thought, he was on me. Hands on my waist, lips at my neck. I did not push him away. I did not scream. He pushed me onto the bed gently, like he had done it 100 times before. His hands roamed, firm and certain. My mind screamed wrong, wrong, wrong. But my body betrayed me. I moaned. I pulled him closer. I let him taste me like I belonged to him. I remember the sound of the ceiling fan, the way the light hit his chest, the way my fingers gripped the sheets. I came hard. Twice. And when it was over, he zipped up, kissed me on the forehead, and said, "You needed that, did you not?" I laid there silent. He walked out like it was just another evening. But I stayed there, naked in my friend's guest room, sweating in shame and disbelief. I had just ruined everything. And this was only the beginning. I woke up the next morning feeling like I had swallowed fire. My body still ached from what had happened in that guest room, but it was not the kind of ache that brought peace. It was the kind that twisted deeper with every memory, every flash of his hands, his mouth, his voice. I could not stop reliving it. I left Ashley's house before sunrise. I slipped out like a thief, my shoes in my hand, my hair tied back sloppily. I did not leave a note. I did not even look back at the house. If I had, I might have run back in and confessed everything. I might have fallen to my knees and begged her to forgive me before she even knew what I had done. But I did not. Instead, I crawled into my apartment, showered for nearly an hour, and cried into my pillow until I fell asleep again. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. A one-time thing. A stupid, desperate act from a broken woman and an older man who knew how to find her weakness. But 2 days later, I got a text from a number I did not recognize. You forgot your sunglasses. Come by Thursday morning. MC. I knew I should not have gone. I should have blocked the number, deleted the text, and walked away with whatever little shame I had left. But shame tastes sweet when it is wrapped in temptation. Thursday morning, I stood outside their house in a fitted black dress and wedges. I told myself I was just picking up my sunglasses. That was all. In and out. But when Mr. Carter opened the door, shirtless in sweatpants, I knew I was lying to myself. Come in, he said, stepping aside like he had been expecting more than a visitor. The moment the door closed behind me, his hands were already on my hips. And just like that, I let him again. He took me right there in the kitchen, bent over the granite countertop like I was not his daughter's best friend. He whispered filth into my ear, things no one had ever said to me. He held me like I was his, claimed me like I belonged nowhere else but under him, and I hated how much I loved it. Afterwards, I sat at the breakfast bar sipping orange juice, trying not to look at the wedding photo still hanging by the hallway. His wife had passed away years ago. I used to think of her as graceful and kind, but that morning I wondered what she would say if she saw what her husband was doing. Why me? I asked him quietly. He looked up from where he was buttoning his shirt and smiled. Because you need something you have never had. Someone to look at you and see more than a wounded little girl pretending to be a woman. His words punched me in the chest. Because in a way he was right. Brent had cheated on me with his coworker. Told me I was too sensitive. Too emotional. Too much. Mr. Carter made me feel like I was never enough for all the wrong reasons. Did not stop there. Every week there was a new excuse. I was returning something Ashley left at my place. Or I was dropping by to borrow a book. We started meeting at hotels an hour out of town. Dirty, anonymous places with old wallpaper and mirrors that showed too much. I lived in two realities. In one I was Ashley's best friend, smiling at brunch, helping her plan her birthday. In the other I was her father's secret lover, wet, wrecked and breathless in motel sheets. I started sleeping less, eating less, laughing less, and still I went back to him. Guilt became the air I breathed. I hated what I was doing but I could not stop. He made me feel wanted, devoured, like I was the only woman who had ever mattered. It was the most dangerous kind of love. It did not feel like love at all. It felt like drowning and I had forgotten how to swim. One night, we met at a motel just outside Atlanta. He brought wine and chocolates like we were on some twisted date. We lay in bed, my head on his chest, his hand tangled in my hair. I could keep you, you know, he said. I laughed. Keep me where? In a drawer. I mean it, he said. You would never have to work another day. I could give you more than that salon ever will. I rolled away from him. What about Ashley? I asked. What about your life? Your family? There was a long pause. She would get over it. My stomach turned. For a moment, I saw the real man behind the fantasy. He did not care about Ashley's heartbreak. He did not care that I was unraveling at the seams. He just wanted control, ownership, possession. And I was letting him take it. That night, I stared at my reflection in the motel mirror and asked myself a question I had never dared to say aloud. Who am I becoming? The answer scared me. The next morning, Ashley texted me. Hey babe, brunch this weekend? I miss your face. I stared at the message for a long time. I had not even seen her in over 2 weeks. Every time she called, I found an excuse. Every time she hugged me, I felt like I had poison on my skin. But I could not keep running. Not forever. That weekend, I showed up for brunch. I wore a yellow sundress and lip gloss like I was not breaking apart inside. Ashley laughed and showed me pictures of her new boyfriend. She was glowing, happy, full of plans. And then she said something that made the blood drain from my face. Dad said you have been dropping by a lot lately. Said it is nice to have someone to talk to again. My heart stopped. I forced a smile and said something stupid. Probably a lie. My memory blurred from the sheer panic flooding my chest. She looked at me with those trusting eyes, and I hated myself more than ever. Because I was not just betraying her. I was destroying her. Slowly. Silently. And she had no idea. But secrets do not stay buried forever. And mine was about to come crawling out in the most brutal way. Secrets are like rotting fruit. You can try to hide them in the back of the fridge, cover them up with something sweeter, but eventually the smell leaks out. Eventually someone opens the door and gags on the truth. My truth came spilling out on a Thursday evening. It had been 3 months since that first night in the guest room. 3 months since I let my friend's father take me in a way no man ever had. 3 months of lies layered like bricks between me and Ashley. I was folding towels at the salon when my phone rang. It was a video call from Ashley. My stomach turned, but I forced a smile and answered. Hey babe. I chirped, my voice too high, too forced. She did not smile. Her face was frozen. Her eyes locked on mine with a kind of stillness that made my blood turn cold. I need you to come to the house, she said. What is going on? Now, Brittany. Do not ask questions. Just come. The call ended. My legs went numb. It took everything in me not to run. I sat in my car outside their house for 10 minutes, just staring at the front door. My hands were shaking. My mouth was dry. I knew. Somehow I already knew. When I walked inside, the living room was dim. The curtains were drawn. Ashley stood near the fireplace, her arms crossed. On the couch behind her sat Mr. Carter. And on the coffee table between them was a phone. Ashley looked at me like she had never seen me before. Like I was not Brittany, her friend of 12 years. I was a stranger wearing my skin. Sit, she said. I did not move. She picked up the phone. Pressed play. And there it was. A video. His phone camera. Our bodies tangled in that motel bed. My moans. His voice. His hands. My name. Everything. Recorded. Saved. Exposed. I felt like my soul ripped straight through my chest. My knees buckled and I collapsed onto the armrest. How long? She asked. I could not speak. Her voice cracked like glass. How long, Brittany? I whispered. 3 months. She laughed. Laughed so hard I thought she would choke. 3 months, she repeated, pacing now. So every time you looked me in the eye, every time we had brunch, every time I cried to you about feeling lonely, you were what, sneaking around with my father? I am sorry, I whispered. Sorry, she spat. You are sorry? She turned to him next. You recorded it? She said to her father, her voice trembling with disbelief. He stood slowly. No shame on his face. Just that same calm expression he always wore when he knew he had the power. You were not supposed to see it, he said. She looked between the two of us. Get out. Both of you. Her voice was small now. Hollow. Like something inside her had died. I stood and tried to walk toward her, but she backed away like I was a disease. I said get out. She was screaming now. Tears streaming. Her hands shaking like she was holding fire. I stumbled toward the door, my face hot with shame. He followed close behind, but she stopped him. No. You stay, she hissed. I left alone. The sky looked different that night. It was gray and stretched thin like it was ashamed of what it had seen. I drove for hours without direction, my eyes swollen from crying. I parked by a lake 2 towns over, and sat in silence until sunrise. Ashley blocked my number the next day. She removed me from all our group chats. She unfollowed me on everything. I was erased from her life like I had never existed. But the worst part was that I understood. I deserved it. I left my job at the salon a week later. I could not walk through town without wondering who had seen the video. who had heard the whispers, who knew I had betrayed someone who trusted me like a sister. As for Mr. Carter, he called me once. Just once. I did not answer. I wanted to tell him everything I never could say while I was still under his spell. That he had ruined me. That I had ruined myself. That what we had was not love. It was destruction disguised as desire. But I knew better now. Words would not fix what was broken. Words would not unburn what we set on fire. A month passed. Then 2. I moved cities. Started over. Got a new job at a beauty counter downtown where no one knew my name. But some nights when I lie in bed and the world goes still, I remember it all. The first time his hand brushed my thigh. The way his mouth felt on my neck. The lies. The thrill. The shame. I remember the girl I used to be, so hungry for attention, so lost, so easy to lead. And I ache for her. I ache for the friendship I destroyed. I ache for the truth I did not say soon enough. But most of all, I ache for the forgiveness I may never earn. Because some lines once crossed can never be uncrossed.